everyone, to another episode of the Traveling Pilates Teacher podcast. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Rim. She is the owner of Reform Pilates in Rabat, Morocco. I'm currently sitting in Rabat with Rim as I am her guest teacher while she is out on maternity leave. She has this adorable, sweet little baby girl. So I wish you could see her, but you cannot. But she is, trust us, she is very, very sweet. So if you hear a baby in the background, that is her. It's been truly a pleasure for me to be in Rabat and working in her studio. Welcome, Rim, and thank you for spending some time with me today.
Hello, Christy. Thank you very much for having me. It's a real pleasure for me to do this podcast with you today.
Yes. And Rim has a very strong, beautiful French accent. That's what we are hearing. But her English is great. But French would be probably, did you say French is your native language? Would you say that?
Almost, yes. Almost. But fluent in French.
Yes, you are very fluent in French. Christy is not fluent in French. And she is learning that in Rabat, that she's not.
It's okay. Excuse my accent, though.
No, we love the accent. It's beautiful. So, Rim, before we dive into our discussion about Pilates and why I'm here for you, just tell us a little bit about yourself, some background information.
So, my name is Rim. I'm 32. I'm married with a newborn little baby girl. I'm born and been raised in Morocco, and I have studied and worked in France, in Paris. I've been living there for like 11 years. And now I'm living in Morocco, in Rabat.
Yes. And this is my first time in Morocco, and I will say it is a beautiful country. It's a little hot here right now because it's July, but it's always hot everywhere in July. But it's just, it's a really welcoming, beautiful, beautiful country. So Thank you for bringing me here, because I don't know in my lifetime if I would have come. Yeah. I don't know if I would have had this experience. So thank you for allowing me to come. So that's very nice of you. So,
thank you, Christy. Thank you.
All right. So let's dive into Pilates, and that's why we're here. So tell us a little bit about your journey and what led you to establish your own Pilates studio.
So becoming a Pilates instructor was a real switch for me. I used to work in investment banking in Paris, as I just said, and I was having a very stressful life, like you can imagine. Back then I was practicing, of course, when I had the time to, like on weekends and sometimes on the week. I think like a lot of people with the COVID pandemic, I decided to change things and have a job I'm actually passionate about. So that's when I've decided to come back to Morocco after 11 years in Paris and to create Reform Pilates after, of course, getting my license in Paris. So my goal was to create a studio that not only focused on physical fitness, but also promoted mental well-being and a strong sense of community.
Yes. I love that. I love because I think we're probably why we get along so well. Our lives are a little parallel because same situation, corporate stress, working in that environment and getting into something that you're passionate about.
It's so nice.
Yes, it is so nice. And I think too, when you're passionate about something, it just emulates to everybody. Like everyone sees it, everyone feels it, and they're attracted to that. And they want to come because it's such a positive place.
Yeah.
So.
But I don't know for you, but I think it's actually a good thing to have a corporate background.
Yes.
It makes you more, structured, and I don't know what you think, but for me, it's how I feel about it.
Yes. And I think we can relate to, because a lot of your clients are corporate. They're working in that. And we can relate.
Yeah.
You're 5 minutes late to class because you're running from a meeting, and we can relate to that. And it's okay. You're here now, and just come in.
Yeah, totally.
Yes. So we can relate, versus if we didn't have that background, we maybe wouldn't have that relatableness. But yes. So wonderful. And really your space is so beautiful. I know
Thank you.
Yes, it truly is. It's one of those places, you walk up the hallway because you have to walk up, your studio is on the second floor. And so you walk up to that hallway and you get to the top of the stairs. And then as soon as you open that door, it's just a different feeling. It's just that, I'm here.
Oh, I'm happy to hear that.
And her machines, they're balanced body machines. They're light green.
Yeah.
And I've only seen black and I've seen red, but I've never seen light green. So
I love green. Actually, it's my favorite color.
Okay, yeah.
So I was like, okay, why not? I think it's a very peaceful color.
It is.
You know, especially this light green.
It's not a harsh green.
Yeah. So I was like, let's try it.
Yes.
And people love it. So.
Yes. And it really blends nicely with the wood.
Yeah.
It's not a harsh contrast, whereas, the black is a little different. But I think the black is normal. I think that's their standard, where I think maybe
I have colors of nature actually.
Oh, yes.
Like the wood with the green, like the trees.
Yes.
So I think it's very peaceful.
It is a very, very peaceful place. And I did a quick video on my Instagram page, The Traveling Pilates Teacher. I looked at the studio and videoed the studio. There's no students in it. So once you're done listening to this podcast, pop over to that page, that Instagram page, The Traveling Pilates Teacher. Check out how beautiful the studio is, how clean the studio is, which is remarkable how clean it is. It's truly a haven for people to come, enjoy Pilates, and forget everything else and just focus in on you. So if you're in Morocco visiting, or maybe you live in Morocco, especially in Rabat, you must come take a class at Reform Pilates. You will not regret that decision.
Thank you very much. You're welcome to come, all of you.
Yes, anyone, please come. Yes, we love it. All right, we just spoke about your space and how wonderful that is. What sets your studio apart from others in the area? Like, are you differentiating your offerings? How do you create that unique experience for your clients?
Well, I don't think actually there is a better studio. I think there is the appropriate one for each one of us, depending on what you are looking for, depending of the instructor, of his or her teaching style, of the energy of the place, as we just discussed, of its community, etc. So honestly, I don't have something specific which differentiates me from other studio, but I think it's a whole.
Yes, I think so too. I've not been to other studios in the area, and Rabat is different than the United States because Rabat, obviously it's a different country altogether, but it's still a big city in the country of Morocco. But it's Pilates, I would say, is just starting to really take off.
Yeah, exactly. It's still new here.
Yes, it is. There's a couple other studios, but there's no franchise studios here.
Yeah.
In the States, it's a lot of franchise studios, whether it's this one or that one, and some small boutique studios as well. So you have a good mixture in the States, but here it's all private studios, and people just own that one studio, I believe, right?
Yeah, exactly. For now.
Yes, for now. Exactly. All right. So as a studio owner, what values or principles do you prioritize in running your business?
I think for me, it would be inclusivity. I would say personalized attention, even though my classes are group classes, but I try to keep it a bit personalized, so each one of my clients feel special.
Yes.
And as I said before, we have a strong sense of community in the studio. I've really, really tried to build a supportive environment where everyone feels welcome.
Yes. And that's very
so important for me. Yeah.
Yes. And I've seen that. As being your guest teacher, I've seen all shapes, sizes. I've seen all levels. Some ladies come in, they've done mat Pilates, or a couple of them will say, I do Pilates at home. And then you'll have some that come from other countries, and they are wonderful experience. I mean, you can tell they're just very advanced, and their form is just better than my form, and I'm a teacher, and it's just amazing. So I do think that all people feel welcome. And I think that's that serene space, which talk a little bit about your classes, because your classes are one for all, where they're not leveled like in the States.
No, they're not.
And talk a little bit about that decision that you made.
Well, when I first started, I had level classes, but then I realized that people wouldn't really respect the levels. So I was like, okay, but let's just mix everyone and let's see how it goes. And I think it's good like this. Yeah,
it is good, I think. And I think as an instructor, it's good you challenge those instructors, because when the classes are leveled, everybody in that class is a beginner. Everybody in that class
is easier. It's easier for us, actually.
It is easier for us. And so as a teacher or an instructor, you have to be prepared to, as I like to say, layer on. I always say, if you're good here, you stay here. If you want more, then this is where you go.
Exactly.
And it's just, I think it challenges the teacher, which is a good thing to challenge everybody. You always want to be that learner. So good. Wonderful. Well, thank you for that. And we talked already about that sense of community and the connection with your studio. And I just want to piggyback a little bit on that. People come into the studio all the time with friends. Yeah. And they come with their mother, or you have quite a few clients that come with their dads, which I love. And I love that you welcome that and you encourage that connection.
I think it's part of our job, to do this and to encourage everyone and to make them feel welcome in the studio.
Yes, I agree with you. And I think we do it. You and I, because I'm teaching there, you're on maternity leave right now. I think we do that a pretty good job with that.
Yeah, of course.
Good. So, as you know, each member has their own Pilates journey, whether it's to build their core or, some people always want to come to me. I'm sure you get it too. How do I lose the belly fat? How do I lose the glute fat? Or they want to tone their body, or maybe we have some too that don't want to lose weight, but they just want to focus on their flexibility and they want to focus on their balance. And I know you and I both probably have a bazillion memorable success stories to share, but is there one or two that have occurred at your studio that you really remember, success stories?
Honestly, all the transformations I've seen on my clients are memorable for me. And, they bring me a lot of joy and proud, really. I know. So I love to see them evolve and gain in strength, flexibility. So for me, all of them are important and memorable. But I think the one I feel very happy about and proud are the one when my clients are getting, actually relieved from a physical pain. So I think for me, it's maybe the most important for me. It's when there is a pain and through Pilates, we can make it better.
Yes, I agree with you. In fact, just yesterday, I had a woman say to me, "Oh, I don't know if I can do the class because I have lower back pain." And I said, well, don't not do the class. Just don't do anything that, is going, like instead of our bridging going way up, we're going to stay a little bit lower with that bridging. And so I gave her some movements. And I think that she said when she left there, she felt better than when she walked in the door. And truly, that is
very rewarding for us. I think.
It is very rewarding. I always tell everybody, you're going to make me cry because I see everybody transforming their bodies and, getting more stronger cores and getting more flexible, and their balance is improving. So it helps. If I could share one success story that I've seen at your studio, I've seen a couple women that come in at the top of my mind that have made transformations, but there is one lady in particular. She started coming at the beginning of June, and right now we're sitting here, it's the end of July. And so she's only been there for about almost 8 weeks. And when she came to me, she was a little out of shape, and she said that she was drinking 3 to 4 colas a day. All right. So I, love to hear good success stories. And I've seen a couple women that have come to the top of my mind that really have made that transformation here in Rabat. And there is one lady in particular that comes to mind here at Reform Pilates. She started in late June, and we're in July, end of July. So she's been here for a little over a month, probably about 6 weeks. No experience with Pilates at all, and really struggled as that new student. Her weight was a bit of an issue, and she had little to no core strength. She told me that she drank 3 to 4 Coca-Colas a day and just had no energy, even though it's kind of funny because people drink Coke to get energy and they end up having no energy at the end. And she knew she needed to make a change because her doctor told her that she was borderline diabetic, which scared her. So that's why she decided to come in. She said she didn't really want to go to a gym, and she wanted to do something that she just found enjoyment with. So she gave Pilates a try. And she comes to the studio 2 to 3 times a week now. And one day I looked at her and I saw a completely different person. Not only has her weight come down, which that's great for her, and I know that she likes that, but her energy level has improved.
Her strength.
Yes, her strength has improved. Like now she can hold, before she couldn't even do a plank. Now she can do the plank and the pike up to go with it, which is fantastic. But most importantly, she really feels good about her body, and she almost is glowing now. And
oh my God.
yeah, she's just, so that's my Moroccan positive story, I guess, if I had to pick one, that just several, but this is the one that really stands out to me because she's always too that quiet one that's in the back of the studio. And I don't think her English is very strong. And so she tries to do what she can, and her and I communicate as best as possible we can. But I said to her, I said, "Oh, I noticed the kilos," because in Morocco you say kilos. In the United States we say pounds. You know, the kilos are coming off, and she just smiled. And so
that's wonderful.
Yeah, so she's really, really doing good. So, all right, perfect. So let's just flip that conversation now and talk about what challenges that you've faced as either a small business owner in Pilates or just a small business owner in general in Morocco. And then how have you overcome them?
Well, I think to begin with, I have launched my studio just after COVID, as I told you before. So I think first thing that was very, very challenging for me, it was just to import reformers to Morocco.
That must have, because they're from the US.
It was not easy.
Yeah, that would be.
I think that was my first struggle. Well, it took time, but eventually it was
How long did it take?
I think about 9 months.
Wow.
For the whole process, like to order them and to have them come and everything.
Yeah, because you didn't start, you have 10 reformers in the studio, and you didn't start out with all 10.
No, I've started with 6, and then I've added 4 more.
Okay. And you have 6 with towers and 4 just regular reformers. Okay,
exactly.
Got it.
So I think that was my first challenge, I would say.
Yeah.
Then I think on a daily basis, what's difficult for me is that I do everything myself.
Yeah.
I teach, of course, obviously. I handle reservations. I handle payments, accounting. I handle everything with the bank, etc. So I pretty much run my business alone. Yeah. Because, it's in Morocco, it's very hard to find good and well-trained Pilates instructors. So I basically do everything myself. And I think it's my biggest challenge every day at work.
Yeah. And I can see that. As your guest teacher, I'm doing everything minus the accounting aspect.
Yeah.
I don't do that part of it, but I definitely take the payments and stuff. And it's very different than in the States, because in the States we have a desk person usually, and at least at the franchise ones, I don't know, but not. And the one private studio I taught at too had a desk person, and even that desk person runs the music. And so here, you're running the music. So I always tell the ladies, okay, I'm playing DJ now, and I always tell them, don't hire me as your DJ because I'm not very good at it. And so it's a lot. It's a lot for you. But you make it work. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. You make it work. You know what? It beats going into that corporate job every day.
Yeah. Exactly.
Any day. Right. That's what I always think about. Cause when I think, I'm overwhelmed, or I don't know if I could do this anymore. I just think, okay, do we want to go back to the corporate life, or do we want to do this? And it's always,
it's always better.
Yes, exactly. So yes. Well, good. Well, I'm glad that all of those 10 reformers arrived eventually. Yes, that because without them, you wouldn't have a studio where you're at. But yes, perfect. So let's talk about something too that's a little bit of a challenge as well, and that's competition. Competition is everywhere. It's
of course.
In every industry, and even in Pilates. And I know you've got a couple other smaller studios as well. I've not been to them, so I can't comment whether they're different or if they're similar. But how do you stay, innovative, and how do you adapt to the evolving needs and preferences of your clients?
I try to keep my classes different from one another. Of course, there are some exercises that you repeat, but I try to keep the whole class different and challenging. So what I'm doing is I'm always learning myself new moves, and I try to modify them, adjust them to propose them to my clients after.
Yeah, I agree. You've got to stay fresh and stay on top. Yeah. Thank goodness for Instagram.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say. And all those people that post those Instagram videos, because I try the move first, and if I can do the move, then I'm like, okay, then I can teach this move.
Exactly.
But I don't know what they did in the 90s before social media, because thank goodness for that.
I think they were more creative than we are.
Maybe, they had to be, right?
They had to be.
Yeah. Well, and I think your studio is a contemporary versus a classical.
Yes.
I mean, obviously we include the classical moves.
Yes, of course.
Some of them, not all 40.
Yeah, but overall, yes, it's a contemporary.
Yeah, and which is great because, and if you're looking for that classical, you'll still get pieces of it.
Yeah.
But the contemporary allows you to do a little bit more with the body. Yeah. How far can you push the body? And obviously you have those clients that are very advanced and really want to be pushed. And then you've got some that have just sat down on the reformer for the first time. And again, we talk about that layering on and how you can make it
exactly
more harder for those that want it harder and a little bit softer for those that want it softer. So good. So as I've said before, I am a guest teacher here at Reform Pilates, and everybody is new to me. I remember my first couple days just trying to say hello to people, and everybody was shocked at my accent because the first question is, "Where are you from?" and I usually reply is, "Well, where do you think I'm from?" And I don't know if they are experienced with a lot of people from the States, but I got a lot of, "You're from Britain." And I'm like, "No, I'm not from the UK. I'm from the United States." And then, I lived in New York, or I lived in Miami. So I'm different because I'm from Chicago. So it's kind of nice. But regardless though, after those first few initial meetings, I still like to ensure that, this is a safe place for your body to explore on where you can push it. I don't want you to feel embarrassed if you are not able to get into a certain pose that your neighbor can get into. I want you to be able to do what you think is good for you, because everybody is on your own journey. So I would like for you to talk a little bit about the importance of creating that welcoming and inclusive environment for your clients. So I know we talked a little bit about it, but how do you empower women to just be the best that they can?
I don't have this question.
Okay.
I didn't prepare for this one.
No, I'm just going to stop it really quick. Why? Come on. We'll just stop at that. That's fine. Okay, so we want to delete that whole last section all the way up into the point where we want to do competition. And now we'll start with owning our own studio. So here we go. So you not only own the studio, but you also teach Pilates, which we've talked about. What advice would you give to clients that aspire to become a Pilates teacher?
I think my main advice would be to tell them, do not try to copy paste what others do, but just try to find your own teaching style, and honestly, just be passionate about it, because when you are, it's so easy to do.
Yes, it is. You got to find that your own style. I 100% agree with you. Now, what about those that are listening to us that, want to own their own studio? What advice do you have for that? It's the second one about so it's in there. Okay, we're going to eliminate that last question as well, and we're going to move on to the next one in 3, 2, 1. So again, I am that guest teacher at your studio, like we've discussed a few times. Before me, though, you did have a woman named Rena, and she's on our podcast before as well. She was from Australia. Why, Rim, hire international private Pilates teachers versus local ladies?
So, as I said before, since reformer Pilates is not very common yet in Morocco, it's very hard to find good certified and well-trained instructor. Like, it's really a struggle. So I had the chance to find 2 wonderful international teachers to replace me at the studio when I was in maternity leave, and Christy is one of them.
Oh, well, yes. And it's been nothing but a pleasure. So
Thank you very much.
Rim started me on this wonderful journey of traveling the world and teaching Pilates.
Yeah, and I think it's the beginning of many more to come.
Yes. I plan on coming back to Rabat.
You're welcome here anytime.
When Rim needs a vacation, and, when you're a young family, you need those times. So I plan on coming back. So good. So talk to me a little bit about the process of hiring international Pilates teachers. Start from the beginning. Like, how did you even make that initial connection?
So as I said, I was thinking about hiring an international Pilates teacher because I couldn't find someone in Morocco. So I just started looking, in the social medias. Thank God.
Yes,
once again for them.
Yes, exactly.
And then when I had when I spotted few names and profiles I liked, I've conducted a lot of interviews until I found my 2 amazing teachers with whom I had a great feeling, during the interviews. It was not easy to take the decisions long distance, because you never really know. You don't really actually meet people face to face. So it was a bit challenging, but I've just trust my feeling and thank God I got lucky.
Yes, you did get, I think you got lucky, but yeah.
Yes, I did.
And vice versa for me. We spoke in January and I didn't come until May, the beginning of May. And I kept telling people I was going to Morocco and they thought I was going to Monaco. And they thought, oh, you're going to love Monaco. And I'm like, I'm not going there. I'm going to Morocco. And then, it changed where they've never been there and they don't know much about it. And so, and people were, well, why are you going there? Why aren't you just staying in Chicago?
Are you crazy?
Yeah. A little bit, because I'm not Muslim and it is a Muslim country, but, for me, it's been a wonderful experience. And I also felt being on the other side of that conversation that we did have that good connection. Like, I just got this, like, I can trust this woman,
me too.
I'm not going to go there and to danger, because you just don't know what you're walking into these days. The world is crazy. Every country is crazy. Doesn't matter if you're in the United States, Morocco, wherever. Everybody's got a little bit something. So
it's the same everywhere.
It is the same. Yeah, just a different flag that you fly, and then maybe a different language that you speak. But it is. So I get it. So then the last question I have about that is, what were the qualities that you're looking for when you're hiring somebody, either, local or international? Maybe those personality qualities, professional skills. What are you looking for?
Well, obviously, I look for instructors who are highly qualified, and have experience, but also who are passionate about Pilates, because I think it's very important and you can feel it when you teach. I also look for someone with good communication skills, and I also value a lot, the vibe, the energy, the positive attitude. I think it's, once again, when you teach, you can feel all of that.
Yes, I agree. I don't own a studio and I'm not sure I'm going to ever own a studio. It's not really on my game plan, but you never know what life will take you. But I agree. You need definitely somebody that has that bubbly personality or that, that vibe that you talked about. Good. So we've had such an insightful conversation, including your perspectives on Pilates, studio ownerships, and Pilates teachers. Anything that we've left out that you want to add? Any last minute comments?
No, I think we covered everything. Okay. Thank you very, very much for having me.
Of course. It's been a pleasure to sit down with you and discuss one of our favorite topics, or one of my favorite topics is Pilates. I do wish you more continued success as a teacher. Much. Yes, and a studio owner. Again, to our listeners, if you're in Rabat, Morocco, pop into the class at this beautiful studio. Once again, it's called Reform Pilates. Check out the video of the studio on my Instagram page, the Traveling Pilates Teacher. I believe you have an Instagram page as well for your studio, right?
Yes, I do.
What is it called?
It's Reform Pilates Rabat.
Okay, perfect. Pop on there as well. You'll see a lot more too. And thank you again, Rim, for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Christy.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for all. Bye-bye. Thank you all for your listening to this edition of the Traveling Pilates Teacher Podcast.